Hey moviegoers, Dimitri Panos here with another episode of The Cinescope, Movies Under a New Lens. And in this episode, I will be discussing and putting Superman under the Cinescope. Before I begin this review, I want to be right up front with you. Christopher Reeves is forever my Superman. As a 12-year-old in 1978, director Richard Donner and actor Christopher Reeves delivered a movie-going experience that made me believe a man can fly. That iteration of Superman was someone to look up to. He embodied truth, justice, the American way, as well as kindness, charm, and manners. Not just in dialogue, but in action as well. Christopher Reeves made him a hero that inspired. This is not to say I haven't enjoyed other actors who stepped into those big red boots. I actually enjoyed them all to a different extent, from Brandon Routh to Henry Cavill and now David Corenswet. They all carry with them their own charisma and appeal. For me, 1978's version of the Man of Steel is, and forever will be, my favorite Superman. One more thing, and this will be the only mention of it in this review. Promise. For those who believe this version of Superman is woke and political, you're ignorant and as stupid as the man who wants you to believe he's a superhero but is nothing more than a super zero. And you can fly off. That is all about that. Now on to my review. Superman soars to new lows. This is of no fault of the actors, albeit some are just wasted. This is all James Gunn's doing. His insistence on constantly trying to recapture the lightning in a bottle formula for success of Guardians of the Galaxy and inject it into all of his projects thereafter sinks this man as if he were made of nothing but steel. Gunn's mindset of having Superman intertwine with a group of misfits leaves the character with literally nothing to do. There's a scene that's so mind-numbingly bad. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, but it literally backs up those past statements. So, and worse, Supes has very little to do with any heroic outcome without the intervention from others. Gunn's ego only makes matters even worse. Gunn believes he's the only person who has delivered this character as one of compassion and the inherent belief in the goodness of humankind. And while he wants you, or perhaps believes you've forgotten past Superman movies, he relies on the audience to remember all of Superman's origin story and relationships. And then he pulls the cape right out from under you. Big time spoilers coming up, so if you haven't watched the movie yet, I'm going to ask you to put it on pause. Go watch the movie, come on back. Okay? I have to mention this because it's kind of a big thing, although you really wouldn't know it watching this movie. First, Gunn doesn't rehash Superman's origin story, or at least he pretends not to. The rationale, I have to believe, is he figures by now we all know that he was the last son of Krypton, and he was sent to Earth to escape the destruction of his home world, and so that he may be a beacon and a hope for humanity. Okay, fine. I'm good with that. Show that he's already here. Not a problem. But Gunn does redo the origin story. Horribly. And he does it with zero context. It's done with just one line of exposition, and all of a sudden, the character, or a character people have known for decades, this being Jor-El, Superman's dad. He's the smartest, wisest, compassionate man on Krypton. the only one to predict Krypton's demise, and no one listened to him. Jor-El, a character we've known since the beginning of Superman's pop culture existence, is now like a horrible authoritarian-leaning who's bent on his son becoming a ruler of Earth vis-a-vis fear, death, destruction, and power. Wait, what? What happened? Well, everything one knew of Krypton and Kal-El's parents is obliterated. We never see this revised version of Krypton or these characters. Gunn never provides context. This literally is something that changes everything. And it's treated so casually, like up to the point of the movie, what Kal knew of his folks was that they were very peaceful, loving people. When he learns of this revelation, he's like, huh. All right, so my real parents are assholes. Okay, moving on, moving on. It's not even really questions. No one even suspects that it might have been Lex Luthor manipulating a destroyed piece of audio and video. Since it was put out by Lex, then, oh, I guess we should just believe that to be true. So it goes against anything the casual and or super fan knows to be not only the bedrock of the character, but of Krypton itself. Everything one knows about the distant planet and Jor-El without real emotions, and seriously, it still bothers me. Yet, the characters pretty much just go with it and take it as gospel. And the kicker of it is, Kal-El or Clark, Superman, has context. He is living in a fortress of solitude. He presumably has learned the history of his home world because he's living in a smaller version of it. With all the tech, gadgets, videos, I got nothing. Because the audience is given nothing. We never see the planet or its inhabitants and their dictatorship-leaning tendencies. I mean, seriously, if his parents are okay with telling their son, hey, subjugate humanity to fear and tyranny, they as a race can't be too nice, can they? So one can make the leap of them being authoritarian. But here, Gunn appreciates, and I'd say is even banking on, the ignorance of the moviegoer. He expects you to not to think about the grenade he just lobbed at you. Just play a cool rock song. Throw in a CG dog because everybody loves dogs. It's all good. Look, you want to change the mythology of Superman? Comics have done it, and fine, I'm good with it. But it deserves more than just a garbled piece of dialogue. Superman deserved better. The moviegoer deserved better. So what's the story about? Well, I'll do my best to explain, but in all honesty, I think anyone would be hard-pressed to say exactly what the story is all about. There are opening title cards that appear on a vast Arctic land, and they go something like this. I'm paraphrasing. 3 centuries ago, metahumans make their first appearance on Earth. Uh-oh, let me guess. There are going to be some metahumans in this movie, Well, 30 years ago, Kal-El crash lands on Earth in a spaceship built by his Kryptonian father so that he can escape the destruction of his home world on Krypton. Or his home world of Krypton, I should say. And 3 years ago, Superman has made himself known to the world. And 3 minutes ago, Superman gets the crap beat out of him, and he loses his very first fight to the Hammer of Baravia. Superman has made himself known 3 years ago. And within those 3 years, he's become the world's hero. Okay, he's also become an obsession for Lex Luthor. There's a point in the movie where someone says, Lex has been obsessed with him for years. That indicates like an extraordinarily long time. Years. It's only been like 3. Yes, Mr. Gunn, I paid attention to the beginning of the movie. See, you've been making movies for years, okay? But in this movie, Superman, according to you, has only been known for 3 years. That's really not an awful lot of time, all things being considered. I know, no one pays attention to semantics anymore. I kind of do. It's important. Suffice to say, Lex Luthor loathes Superman. He breaks into his Fortress of Solitude, steals some pertinent information, and then tricks the world into believing Superman is trying to start a war. One of the countries is called Brevia, by the ways. And he wants nothing more than to viciously rule the world, thus turning popular opinion into hate and contempt for the Kryptonian. Now look, all that is already familiar about this superhero is baked into this story. Alter ego, Clark Kent, relationship with Lois Lane of the Daily Planet, Metropolis. New to the narrative are a Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. Instead of a Phantom Zone, there's a Pocket Universe and Crypto, the CG Superdog. Everyone has a part to play except for Perry White, who's seen to only be in this movie to pose while having a cigar in his mouth. All of this is problematic. Why? Because there are too many characters. To me, it shows those making the movie don't have faith in their lead character to shoulder an entire movie. And narratively and tonally, the movie plays like a food fight with spaghetti, meatballs, and sauce. It's a mess. Look, I don't mind a superhero movie being a little silly, having a sense of humor. Sometimes Superman is downright cartoonish in parts, and to a point where I was asking myself, what the heck am I watching? Oh, wait, and now is when you want me to take things seriously. Okay, earlier on, I mentioned a numbingly bad scene. This is in addition to the part I explained in detail earlier. Well, in this scene, Superman and Lois are together having a soul-searching conversation about themselves and their relationship. Meanwhile, through a picture window in the background, there's the Superfluous Gang fighting what looks to be a leftover monster from Gunn's Suicide Squad. Normally, this would be a job for Superman. Yet he, Lois, and apparently all of Metropolis are like, no biggie. With luck, it'll only topple one high-rise. Okay, so this is the new norm. Yippee! Well, I've read a lot about how this movie spotlights hope in humanity. This Superman is about kindness. Well, I actually wish I saw that movie because for me, that doesn't enter the picture until near the end of the film with an out-of-left-field monologue. Lasts about 2 minutes, and at that point, it's about 2 hours too late. I again will go back to 1978 and 1981. Superman was not only always a Boy Scout, but the character strived to understand and become more human. In the original, he really learns what it's like to feel like a human. First, when his Earth dad suffers a heart attack and dies, Kal-El or Clark states, "With all my powers, and I couldn't save him." Then later on, he experiences 2 of humanity's most powerful feelings and emotions, being love, and again, he suffers loss. This time due to a promise he makes to villain, Miss Tessmacher. Remember one of those nuke missiles Lex launches? One of them's flying straight to Hackensack, New Jersey, and that's where Miss Tessmacher's mother lives. She makes Superman promise to save her mother first, because she knows if Superman makes a promise, he will keep that promise, which he does. But that promise came with the price. He couldn't get to Lois in time to save her, and the missile hit. And here is Superman's first moral dilemma. And to use his powers and not to use his powers to save Lois, or should he maintain his prime directive and not using the powers to change Earth's history? It's a powerful, poignant, and emotional scene for the audience, and for Superman, Clark Kent as well. In Superman 2, Superman makes the ultimate sacrifice. He forsakes his powers, gets rid of them to become human, all for the love of Lois Lane, and then for the first time feels human pains and aches as he gets beaten by a bully inside a diner. Superman has always been kind. He has always been humanistic, truthful, man with manners. James Gunn did not invent this Boy Scout personality, nor is he the only person to write it and to put the spotlight on it. Also, I have to point out, I remember a couple of sharp criticisms of Superman Returns. 1, Kevin Spacey chews up the scenery as Lex Luthor. 2, lifting the land grab plot line of the original movie. Well, let me tell you something. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor chews up and spits out his scenes. Oh, and if you look very closely in a scene where there is a map in the background, well, you'll see a territory marked off, and the name is very much similar to Lex Luthor's. At this point, someone, maybe you, right now, might be thinking, my God, you're so stuck in the past. This is 2025. Okay, my response then is, really? Then why does James Gunn heavily rely on the 1978 classic John Williams Superman score? Why in this 2025 movie are there characters named Tessmacher and Otis? You can't move forward if you're constantly reminding your audience of the past. Furthermore, why did Gunn take some of the worst aspects of Superman 3 and 4 and make them part of his story in 2025? Lex stealing a strand of Superman's hair and creating a clone. And in part 3, Superman fighting essentially himself. This current movie has one foot in the past and one somewhere else, trying to make a Boy Scout look hip and cool. Look, I did appreciate David Corenswet as Clark Kent Superman. He looked and played the part very well. He exudes a charming quality befit the son of Krypton, and everyone else is good and engaging. As for the looks of the movie, it mostly works. However, there are some scenes that look as if they came from the movie Pixels, and that was on purpose in that movie. Here it looks just kind of weird. And this is what would appear to be the brand new direction the DC Universe is going. Mind you, it is in complete contrast to the universe that was set up in Matt Reeves' The Batman. And honestly, I have no idea how that's going to square. Suffice to say, I don't have much faith in Gunn and Safran's DC vision. Thus far, they've made it look like bad MCU. And have we not had enough of that recently? I know that I have. Well, thank you for tuning into this review. I will have more reviews in the days and weeks to come. Remember, we're still trucking along here, the summer season. Please, I leave the comments open. Let me know what you thought of Superman. And if you watch this full review, help me figure out like, what is this all about with Superman's parents? And like that twist for me literally came out of nowhere, changes everything. And also, I'd appreciate if you please like, subscribe. If you do leave a comment, be kind, respectful, and I will do the same with you. Thank you very much again for clicking in. I look forward to talking more movies with you. The summer ain't over yet. Up, and away. Thanks again.